Lighting's almost too good, Brendan. I don't know that I like this. Don't know that I like this. John, what's up? How's the baits coming along? What phase of the process are you in? You should be coming back around to paint. Painting now. Fun, fun, fun. Any new colors or patterns or stylings or anything of that nature you have experimented with on in this one? That's the fun thing about doing whatever you want. Kyle, hello. The wedding was great. They did, in fact, get married, which what everybody was there for. There was no foul weather or nothing. Nothing. Everybody made it. No missed flights. No everything went off without a hitch. Pun intended. Um, but pretty cool. Pretty cool. I thought the wedding was actually going to be at or in the vicinity of Bass Lake. Um, but it was in fact a nearly 2-hour drive into Yosemite Park to a place called Cathedral Beach. So the day before we had gone to, I kept calling it for my own amusement, I would call it Yosemite. So we went to Yosemite Park and we went about, I don't remember, it was about a 45-minute drive to get there, like get to the gate. And then we went another like 20 minutes up and we saw this sequoia grove where they had this giant sequoias. That was cool. And then we went and saw this little waterfall, like pretty small, like couple mile stuff right inside the park. But there wasn't like a ton of people where we were. Um, it was busy, but it wasn't like crazy. Well, then the wedding was, like I said, it was like an hour plus past where we went. So the next day we drove past all the stuff we went to, and we kept driving and we kept driving. And everybody asked us, did you go through the tunnel? We're like, no, we didn't go through a tunnel. So once you get to the tunnel, this was Amy's favorite part. When you come out of the tunnel, it like opens up and there's just like sheer cliff walls and like mountains and like a waterfall. Like it was like very scenic. But the farther you get in there, the more beautiful it gets. So we only saw like a fraction of it. Um, but it was pretty cool. That's where all the people were. There was people everywhere. Um, so uh, yeah, went good. Got to see a bear. I was kind of disappointed because there's like bear stuff everywhere, and it was Sunday, and we went and walked down to the lake and like saw this other little waterfall. I saw some people fishing. Quite a few casual fishermen. I don't know that I saw anybody fishing that like I feel like knew what they were actually doing. Um, but they enjoyed fishing, which was good to see. But they weren't like pros or anything. Um, but so we were getting ready to leave, and I walked outside, and the thought came into my mind, man, I'm really kind of disappointed we never got to see a bear because, like I said, everything's related to bears. Bear crossing, bear knickknacks, bear T-shirts, bear uh, bear-proof trash cans, bear-proof everything. Everything is revolved around the bears. So I said, you know what? And there was bear sightings. Like we went to the rehearsal dinner, and they were like, "There's a bear right out front." And horseshoe tackle. What the? What? What's going on here? Where's AJ? So I didn't see that bear. I didn't see any bears. And then the last day when the thought, I guess I brought it, I thought it into existence. But I walked out in the backyard, and they're doing construction in the neighbor's yard behind us, and I see this bear's ass walking down the side of the yard towards the backyard, and I was like, that was a damn bear. So I told Amy, I said, "There's a bear back here." And she's like, "What? Where?" I said, "It's back there." And then my uncle heard me. He's like, "Did you say bear?" I was like, "Yeah, he's back there in that person's backyard." And my uncle was eating an apple, and he said, I'm gonna go talk to him." So he walks into the yard, going to find this bear, and Amy goes behind him. And I was like, I'm just gonna sit here and observe this. So I'm watching, and they make it to the backyard, and they're looking around, and they don't see the bear. I'm like, I know how this shit's gonna go. The bear's gonna come back around and pin them between the water and our house. So about that time, they're like, "Where's the bear? Where's the bear? Are you seeing stuff?" And I look out of the corner of my eye, and he's coming up the other side of the house. I was like, "Oh, here we go." So he the bear actually did not come back around into the yard he started in. He went into the other neighbor's garage and started pillaging through their garage stuff. And apparently, they left some trash out by their brand new Tahoe, and they probably have some scratches on their Tahoe from the bear rooting around in their trash bag that they left beside their brand new car. Um, but the the bear was digging around, and then my uncle walks back up to the where the bear's at. He's got that apple, and the bear was like, and you could tell he like got a whiff of that apple. And I was like, might want to consider doing something with that, either feeding the bear or moving. But bear kind of minded his own business, and everybody came back to the house, and we were sitting there, and the bear walked back kind of where he came from, and it was quiet. We were just sitting there talking on the porch in the rocking chairs, and like 5-10 minutes later, you hear "Ah!" and like 3 people scream. I was like, "There's the bear!" Like, yeah, the bear found another yard to walk into. So we did get to see a bear. That was fun. That was fun. I didn't get to fish. I didn't bring any poles or anything of that nature. I could have bought a $40 Chinese like KastKing spinning rod, but really didn't have a ton of time for that. I would have liked to have, but I didn't want to drop like $50 on stuff to go make like 10 casts. Like if I was gonna fish, I wanted to like fish for like hours and give myself the best chance of catching something. But we went to the grocery store, and they did have, that's where they had the fishing rods, and they had a tackle selection, but they didn't have anything good. I won't say good. They didn't have anything good, but they didn't have any actual like lures. They had hooks, and they had weights, and they had a few inline spinners, but they didn't have any worms. They didn't have anything. It was weird. So I kept looking and kept looking, and I was like, why do you have all this stuff to fish with, but you don't actually have like bait? You know what I mean? So digging around, I found one pack of Matsuo Ned Rig, pre-rigged Ned rigs, and it was a 4-pack, and they were $8, $7.99 for this 4-pack of Ned rigs that came with jig heads and 4 worms and pre-rigged. And so I passed. I said, I'm not spending $8 and $40 on this junky combo to leave here and $8 on Ned rigs. So I'd rather not fish. Super Spook Junior. Ooh, that sounds fancy. What's the deal with 3 hooks on baits and not designed for 3 hooks? Good question, Burns. Good question. I do have some beautiful baits here that are designed for 2 hooks. And you know I love you guys because this batch, no circuit board, all Lexan. All Lexan. This little guy is nasty. This little guy is nasty. You did good, Burns. You did good. So what we got here? 12, 17, 20. All right. He actually caught a DD on the Ned, but doesn't want his t-shirt sales to tank. Correct. I did set the lake record on Bass Lake. So I didn't really see any fish. They had a pretty healthy duck population. I didn't see any fish swimming around. Water felt pretty cool. But I'm trying to think any other Bass Lake stuff. We hiked, we Bass Laked. I saw some. I was a wee bit disappointed that I was. This is where Great Outdoors, which I constantly quote with AJ. I did. I was going in hopes of seeing some Great Outdoors kind of memorabilia and places where it was filmed. Unfortunately, one of the main places, which was called Ducey's on the Lake, where the movie was filmed, burned down a year after the movie was filmed. So we did go to Ducey's on the Lake, but it was not the same as when it was filmed. So they had the totem pole from the movie. They had a few little knickknacks in there. They had the sign, a few things like that. It was cool though. No, I could not find where. I looked it up, AJ, trying to find where the old 96er was, where that was filmed, or if that was like a real place. I couldn't find much on that. I'm assuming it was probably at the bar I think that's where, because it's like a bar and grill. I'm thinking that's where that was filmed. Why did Amy cut her hair? Well, we got there and she was looking at it, getting ready, and she was like, my hair's too light, and it was lighter towards the bottom. She's like, my hair's too light. I don't like it. Kind of, it's kind of frizzled. Uh, she said, I want to cut it off. Will you cut my hair? It's like, I'm not cutting your hair. I said, I will, but I don't want to. And luckily, my cousin Mary Grace was there, and she has been tuning up on YouTube videos on cutting hair. So she was like, I'll do it. So she did it. And Amy was like, just cut this part off where it's light. They cut some inches. Like it went from like pretty long to real short. And everybody liked it. I liked it. I thought it looked good for a backyard haircut. But that was the talk of the wedding. Amy, did you cut your hair? Yeah, in the backyard with scissors like these. So that was fun. My wife colors her hair and she's not done it in a while. And the lady asked her how she got gray highlights. Funny lady. Insert foot into mouth, lady. But what else did we see? I had to go back through the pictures, see if there's any other memorable pictures. People were really nice. I think saw some big trees, some birds. Ate some pretty decent food. I will tell you my biggest takeaway that I think that I liked the most, and that was the firewood. So I don't know what kind of trees, if you're from California, um, but I don't know what kind of trees they have out there. Um, but they had a fire pit at the house, and I started building a fire. Well, I guess one thing, it's so dry out there. The wood's very dry, but the wood, whatever it was very light, and it just burned really well. Like I've never seen wood that you could just light with a match, and you could pretty much light that wood with a match. And I guess that's why all the wildfires are so bad. Um, but I think that was my favorite thing, was just building fires and sitting out there by the fire pit and drinking Coors Banquets. Is it cedar, Ralph? It didn't smell, but it burned awesome. If I could go back and bring all the wood back with me, that's what I'd do, because it made campfiring awesome. Um, like the top of TK's head, Amy's hair will indeed grow back. My hair will not grow back. That is for a fact. Um, Dustin, how about that? Mom is the owner of her own hair salon. I bet she gets all the gossip. I bet she's got I bet she gets all the juice on everybody. If you need to know something about somebody, probably just ask your mom. Hello, Brian. But yeah, Ralph, if you're from California, great firewood y'all have. I should have seen how far you were from the toxic store. I didn't even consider that. Um, I did look up tackle stores. We flew into Fresno, and a buddy of mine that I became friends with because through bait painting, I'd painted a bunch of baits for him over the years. Um, he lives out there outside of. He used to live around Littner. Him and Littner were close, and it was outside of Fresno a little ways. And I called him, or I sent him a picture of his like hometown, the sign. He's like, "What are you doing out here?" I was like, "Just landed in Fresno, going to a wedding." And I was like, "Fresno looks pretty grimy." He's like, "Yeah, it's a dump." It's like, "Yeah, I kind of gathered that." So uh, Amy's flight landed 2 hours after mine because she flew from Maryland and I flew from Mobile. And I hadn't eaten, so I was like, she probably would like for me to wait on her to eat, but I'm not going to wait 2 hours for her to eat when I haven't eaten since like 5 o'clock the day before. So we're like getting up on like 24 hours of not eating. So, and I went down the street and I was like, maybe I'll just get like Taco Bell. I was like, I don't want Taco Bell. What's something I can't get at home? So they had this place called, it was like Triangle Burger or something. And they had pretty good reviews on Google. And I was like, I'll try Burger. So I pull in the parking lot of Triangle Burger, and there's like graffiti all over the walls. I'm like, oh, this looks like a nice area. And like the whole building is like got bars on the walls, and like it doesn't look like it's open. It looks like an abandoned building, but in fact they are doing business. And so I pull in there, and there's a lady in the parking lot who has like a shirt on and like leggings, except her leggings are not on her waist, they're below her ass. So I pull into the parking lot in my Kia Soul, and there's this lady throwing shit around in the parking lot with her pants below her ass. And I just see this ass like running around the parking lot crazy. I'm like, oh, this is exactly where I want to eat. So I was like, is this place even open? And I pulled in there. Luckily, she didn't come try to get in like the car with me or anything. So, but she fixed her pants, um, and I ordered, and it was pretty decent food. Sounds like what I look at every day, just mail. Yeah, she was having a hard time. Um, so I got my food. It was pretty decent. I made the mistake of ordering. I saw on the Google reviews that their chili cheeseburger was really good, and so I ordered the chili cheeseburger. And I'm in this like new Kia Soul that I've just rented, and it's like squeaky clean. And I ordered probably the messiest sandwich you could think of ordering. And like the way they serve them didn't it was not conducive to like being clean. So chili started dropping everywhere. It was bad. So I had to like lay out napkins to put out this like barrier to save my clothes and the interior. But yeah, I had the bare ass lady. Another thing I noticed when I was waiting in line for my food is that sticker sales around Fresno and I'm sure other parts of California are thriving. If you wonder who orders all these stickers, why all these people are like ordering stickers from these ads on Facebook and Instagram, um, they're they're buying them and putting them on everything. So I pulled up to the drive-through window. There was like 100 stickers stuck to the side of the drive-through window wall, and it was everything from like pit bull breeders to dispensaries, uh, anything you can imagine, like plumbers, like everybody just spam this building. Uh, so I was thinking, I was like, man, that's pretty good. Pretty good hustle if you're into the sticker sales out here in Cali, because everybody's got them. But so then we flew home, and you guessed it, throwing up babies were what we were greeted with. They had gotten sick on a Saturday night, so we got home on Sunday night, and our kids had been throwing up the previous night and that day. And then Amy gets a call yesterday that she needs to go out of town again for work, which she wasn't supposed to. She was supposed to be here. Well, I said, you need to go to Arkansas. Um, well, she gets on a plane after being home one day. She gets on a plane at 4 a.m. this morning, and I had to deal with the sicklings this morning, and they've got some pretty bad. Whatever they've got is pretty bad. I don't know if it's food poisoning, and or if it's like some sort of virus, but they're in bad shape. They don't have any juice left in them. Like they'll get up for a few minutes and like have a little bit of go, and they just like the bean will just go lay down, and go back to sleep. So pretty sad. Pretty sad that they're sick, and Amy had to leave as soon as she got home because she had been gone already 7 days. She went for work, then flew from work out to the wedding. So she had been gone 7 days. Got to see them one day. They were sick, and then had to leave for another 4 to 5 days. So she'll go on. She'll be going on a 2 week bender of not seeing the children. Agreed, Gator. I'm not a bean fan myself, except for my daughter. She's my favorite bean, but I don't really care for them in my chili. My Amy's mom is over there with them today. They stayed with my parents. Well, they stayed with Amy's mom on like Thursday and Friday, and Saturday midday she took them over to my mom's house, and then my mom got them and they got sick. And uh, Sunday she kept them, and Sunday night we got in, and then uh, they were sick when we got there late. So we don't know if they ate something bad or if they got maybe a bug at the. I went to a pumpkin patch one day. Might have probably caught something from the pumpkin patch, if I had to guess. Uh, Puking out both ends. Oh yeah, all the good stuff. Trying to tell the bean if you can't trust a fart when this is when you get the stomach bug. Do not trust the toots. When in doubt, go sit on the pod. Well, uh, she very rarely has been like throwing up sick. She usually doesn't get the puking bug, but she got it now. I think she's over the worst of it now. She just feels bad. The baby's still throwing up. She threw up this morning. No, certainly no germs at a pumpkin patch. Kids are definitely not sneezing and licking all the pumpkins. Jeremy, I had never experienced that until I was about, I don't know, 14. I made the mistake. My dad wanted to go fishing. He wanted to go offshore. And in the salt. So we went to the grocery store that night, and I was standing in line, a 14-year-old tacklecraft, and there was these pepperonis on the aisle where the like candy is. I was like, pepperonis sound real good. Let me get some of those. So I grabbed a pack of pepperonis. We get in the truck, and I just start popping pepperonis. And I make my. I don't know if I ate the whole bag, but I ate a pretty solid amount of these of this wall food, and wake up the next morning at like 4 or whatever, and we go to Dolphin Island carrying the boat, and told my dad, I was like, I don't feel so good. Like, I think I think I think I'm kind of sick. So we stop and get bait at this bait shop, and I walk in there, and it smells like dead fish and shrimp and just nasty seafood. So I'm like, do y'all have a bathroom? And my stomach's like gurgling at this point. Like, it's like, oh, this is gonna be bad. I'm like, you have a bathroom? They're like, yes, right there. And I sat down, Picassoed the toilet. As I was Picassoing, like projectile vomit, and like I didn't know what to do because like I was like, all right, I'm sitting on the toilet and I have to throw up, but I'm using it, so I just like blasted their floor. Um, I told them, I was like, luckily it was concrete and they had like a spray like drain in the bottom, so they fixed it right up. But sorry, Dustin, I didn't know you were having lunch. Yeah, there was some asshole that found them in the parking lot and brought them back in and just threw them over there by the candy bars. Got me, got me. But that was not fun. Not fun. It is a horrible way to be sick. Uh, AJ, did you confirm you have already you've already made the cinnamon rolls for your chili? I used to down a liter of vodka. 24 hours later, I was good to go. Cleans out everything in one shot. It's a lot of vodka. You're probably right, Kyle. No, we're not getting those. They've been out of the refrigerator section for 48 hours. Brian, you received muffins from AJ? Canned muffins? Come on, dude. Oh, so last night the bean was like, I want medicine. We're like, we got a prescription from the doctor for medicine that like it's like anti-nausea medicine that helps you not feel sick, so you can like eat and drink. And she was like, I want that. I was like, all right, well, I got to go get the prescription filled. So like 8 o'clock last night, I Amy hands me the sheet where the doctor writes on the sheet Zofran or whatever it is, and I go to CVS and I look, thinking because it's not a prescription, it's just on a piece of paper, and I look at all the like over the counter stuff, and I don't see this stuff. All I see is like Dramamine. So I drive back home. I'm like, is this over the counter? Is this a prescription? She was like, oh, it's a prescription. I was like, where's the actual prescription? She was like, it should have been on that paper. It's not. It's like on the floor under the table. So I find it, take it, and she's like, yeah, go to Walgreens and get it done. I was like, okay. So I don't go to Walgreens. I go to CVS because it's closer. Well, I get to CVS, give them the prescription, they run it, they start pecking in some numbers, and the dude comes up and he's like, uh, your insurance doesn't allow CVS to fill your prescriptions. I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's great. And he said, we can fill it, but it's going to be like $60. I was like, okay, I'll go to Walgreens. So I go to Walgreens and do it there. So I get back, and the quick little trip to the pharmacy takes like an hour or more. And I get back, and the bean's like got one open on the couch. I'm like, are they asleep? And was, yeah, we were waiting for medicine. So I get the medicine out, pour it in a little cup. I was like, here you go, Bean. She's like, I don't like that medicine. Okay, fine. Just go to bed. So all that was for nothing. New horseshoe sticker? What is it, AJ? If you aren't using GoodRx, you should try it. Coming from an old guy. Is that a store? If I had some. I usually go to Costco. Oh, it's an app. Hmm. Camo. AJ, do you have it on your page that we can gander at? You must be getting spammed with the same sticker deals as me every day. New stickers. Let's look. Let's look at the new horseshoe merch. Sticker Mule. Let's see. I don't see any new stickers, bro. All I see is baits in the grass. It's not there. It's not on your website. It's nowhere. What kind of shit is this? Gear? Is it in gear? No. They're just freebies. A horseshoe with a muffin in the center. Get on Canva and make that happen, horseshoe man. Oh, I meant to see how far the Toxic store was from Fresno. Let's look out of curiosity. I think he's south. Toxic bait suck. 20% off all items. Our location, Oakley. Let's see where Oakley is. Oakley, California. There's Stockton. We'll get directions to oh wow. Yeah, he was like he was 3 hours away. 3 hours away. Pretty good hike. Oh, that's nice. Nice job, Mindy. Retro duck camo. Hunter's orange. Maybe new for 2024 muffin merch. Brian, all I have to do is make a double camo sticker to take that award away from AJ, so I'm not worried about it. I'll just make it so camouflaged that you can't even read it. Muffin magic. I might even do triple camo. No, I know. I'll take it a step higher. I'll do snow camo. Since that's more relatable. Quad camo. Always fun getting a call saying you got to get an injection in the hip for arthritis. Yeah, I don't think those stop from what I understand. Once you start, does not stop. Speaking of shitty food, no one ever guessed what I had for dinner and breakfast. A steakum sandwich. When's the last time you had steakums? It is a childhood favorite of mine. Never heard of them? They're in the freezer section. Dustin's got some. He knows what's up. Steakums are good, dude. I'd like to know if I could make my own steakums. I looked it up. Apparently, you have to like triple process the meat to where it's basically just a mush, and then you put it into a pie pan, and then you would freeze it, and then you would unfreeze it, and then you there's got to be something in it that binds it together so it doesn't come apart. And then you put it on a meat slicer and slice it thin. Old school, very. They're pretty delicious, though. I think I've got 2 left. So gross, man. I love them. I love a good steakum. I would like to have a gourmet steakum though. Like do it with like brisket or something. Um, Fried chicken in a box, frozen. I don't know that I've ever tried that. AJ, what did you find in the new Do It catalog? Anything good? Are you featured in it? Are you featured in this month's Do It? How do I not get a Do It catalog? I guess I didn't. I guess I didn't enter their contests enough. I didn't even know Do It had a catalog. I always just got lure parts online and looked at the Do It stuff. I'm telling you, catalogs are coming back around. We've talked about sending out catalogs, and it has come to fruition. You know how I know? We got an Amazon catalog for children's stuff for Christmas. I was showing the bean. I was like, this is like when I was a kid, when you got like J.C. Penney or Sears, like when you got their catalogs. It's like this is the same thing, except Amazon's doing it now. And she was like, I was like, here's what you do. You take a pen and you mark what you'd like, and then we dog ear the page, and we can go back and we can, tell Santa what you want. She found something on every page she wanted. I was like, it really doesn't work like that. I was like, you got to pick like a couple things. And she's like, okay, sure. Get her, that chicken is gross. People eat it. People eat it. That is true. People eat some nasty shit. We won't talk about that since Dustin's trying to finish his ham sandwich. Toys R Us was the best toy catalog for sure. For sure. I guess Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore anywhere, do they? Not even a little sneak peek in a Victoria's Secret catalog, Jeremy. Just the Bass Pro Shops. Brave. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that because if you think about it, like out of the millions of toys that are probably listed on Amazon, um, out of all those toys, like how would you ever decipher them? So they at least put together a small catalog of stuff for you to like look at. It's smart because your kid's not going to get on Amazon. I mean, I guess they could. Like Bean probably could, but she doesn't know what to search for. Like she didn't know how to write or like spell. So um, flipping through a catalog is easy for a kid. Somebody was thinking they have a hollow body frog blank. 30 years in the grocery business. Gator, do you have a favorite frozen food that is a hidden gem that nobody knows about, or a sneaky brand? I think I saw a guy shrink wrapping a bait with a fish pattern. I figured it was available, but this other day for the first time. Oculus. Is that the VR headset? Gator, what should we buy or what should we not buy? Good question. Throw us a bone here. Throw us a bone here. Sold the store brands. That's smart. I did grocery business for 17 years, mainly meat department. Brian, you have any tips for the average shopper? We have this one store that's got these steaks that are real cheap, but they're not like Angus or Choice or anything. They're just like USDA inspected, or not USDA, whatever it is. The whoever does the meat, it might be USD. I don't know what it is. But it just says inspected and it's cheap. And I tried to look it up and I couldn't find much on it. What's crazy, Brian, is it's delicious. Like I usually get the girls like a nice steak, and I always get myself like the bottom of the barrel, whatever that shit is. The meat's actually really good. Could be. Could be. I don't know what it takes to qualify for any of those uh, other options. I need to see how close this is to a Killer B3. Is it from Mexico? I don't think so. I think it's from here. They're all D. Do I have a shallow Killer B3? Surely. I might have sold them all. I think there's one in here. These are threes, but these are regular threes. Oh, there was a tournament announced down here in May. I think I'm going to fish a tournament, and I've got all the way till May to get my boat in shape. It's a 2-dayer. I want to see how close this Burns bait is to a Killer B3. I mean, a Killer B. Yeah, there it is. It is kind of Killer B3-ish. It's like a hybrid. Ow. It's like a hybrid. So let's check out this beauty. So here's the Burnsy. There's a Bagley Killer B3 square bill. So it's pretty similar. It's a great deal wider. Similar profile. This one's a little fatter, but it's not. It's about the same width as a Balsa B3. It's pretty Balsa B3-ish, but it's a little shorter. JP, it is, but there's a bonus. There's a bonus. Burns took and made me a pointy-nosed, little sexed up KB2 that he did a little different body on that I really, really like. And I would of course done circuit board, but since there's a lot of rock crawlers out there, we did Lexan on this batch. They run really good, run great actually, and it'll be a 1-in-1. So this would probably be this would be my death row combo. If you gave me two, I would probably take these, and I would be a happy man. But this will be the death row combo. AJ and Gator, I think you two should do a meat cook-off for the campers only with your state's meat. The inspected meat means they and an inspector on site when it was package processed, the prime choice of stuff is greater meat. USDA inspected means they had an inspector on site when it was packaged and processed. I feel confident enough that I'm not being poisoned. Yes, JP, but the last one cranked down a little more than my liking. I was looking for more wake, less crank. That one wanted to get down more than it wanted to wake. So Brian, I'm gonna have to have find somebody with a spin caster to spin my spinner baits now, because I don't have I have possession of the molds, or John Pryor does. USDA said it's okay to eat grounded up crickets and other bugs. That's fine. I don't know. They don't make me sick. I'm okay with it. But the leather tail did real good. I don't know if that'll be an option, but it worked good. I would love, absolutely love to have a cross-country camper meetup, cook-off, hangout. Sean Lai, how art thou? Stuck to your guns, through the chartreuse blade, got paid. Uh-oh, Gator's decorated. What you got, AJ? Any medals, trophies, plaques, ribbons for your muffins? I've never entered a cooking competition. Burns says he's all a go for the leather if y'all want leather. Kyle, I've got enough of that. I could probably supply all the campers for the rest of the year. Sean, I'd like to taste that. I'd like to taste your hot dog fried rice. Do it for the love of the game. I figured somebody would have suckered you into it for some sort of like event where they had to cook and be like, "Hey Jay, you can cook. Come on." But every time I have a buddy that cooks in a cooking competition, he's like, "Dude, these things are rigged." I'm like, really? He's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, the guy that won like sucks, and it's like, he donates to the church that the competition was at. Catering your own wedding. It's a bold move. What are your thoughts on Milliken and the youngster McKinney making the elites? I think that shows that Ben is supposed to be there. He needed to qualify. He needed to do good. He needed people to fail. He did good. He made it. Did what he was supposed to do. Got the job done. Congrats to Ben. And I don't know any of those other little dweebs. So I was stoked to see that Ben qualified the way he did. You know what I mean? When a guy goes into a tournament and says, "I need to win this to qualify," and dude comes in third or whatever second he came in, it's pretty impressive. You know he's legit then. When you go into an event and you say, "I'm going to win," and you pretty much do. So I don't know. I feel like everybody's panicking, like it's going to be a damn. I mean, I guess it is, where it's just going to be a live scope show. Like from here on out, like if you're not a badass live scoper, you're just like a dipshit. You might as well go home. Trey McKinney will be 19 years old. Maybe you can get by now at 19 with electronics. We'll see. I mean, it got him this far. I'm probably assuming they played some sort of pretty decent role in his success this year in the opens. I don't know. I don't follow Trey, but if he's not that type of angler, it would be even that much more impressive. But I think the I think there's not. Does Trey come from a tall wallet, Dustin? One of the spoiled little kids who has never been made to do anything but fish, and that would help on the family payroll. One of those. Yeah, that does help. But somebody asked me, who was it? My DJ was on MasterChef. That's pretty cool. Big Fish Bobby Lane didn't make it. Horse shows and cook-offs are fixed. Do I think Panger will make it, if ever? Unfortunately, as much as I like Matt, I don't. The main reason being is I don't think Matt knows how to target the right fish to qualify. Maybe as time goes by, Live Scope will change that. But just as far as fishing goes, he's not fishing for 4-pounders. Anybody that throws as much finesse stuff as he does is not targeting a fish to win. Anybody that fishes knows that. Unless you go somewhere like up north or like even up north, like unless you're smallmouth fishing or like somewhere where it's like really tough, I just don't think he's doing what it takes to catch the fish that puts you in a position to get ahead of the curve in order to qualify. Because you can't wait for one of those tournaments to where it's like a shit like suck fest and like your finesse like comes into play. And I think you got to be able to target a better than average size fish, and that'll put you where you need to be. Like Ben wasn't out there looking for 2-pounders. You know what I mean? Like he was targeting a certain size fish that he needed to win. And when he didn't win, he still did pretty decent. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have any terrible finishes. I mean, I guess he did, but a couple bombs. But that's going to happen. I mean, but also one thing that helps is that, especially a guy like Ben, the dude's been doing nothing but fish for like the last however many years. Like that's huge. Like say I just had a shit pot of money and was like, I'm gonna go fish the opens. Like I still haven't fished that much, like hardly any, if at all. And even if you're like a normal tournament guy and you fish tournaments like once or twice a month, Ben's been fishing every day for like 3 years, with the exception of like however many days. The dude fishes an insane amount. Um, if says he doesn't mind fishing the open, it frees him up to do other things. Matt has too much of a plan. I can see that, Jim. That's my rule number one. That like if you want Tackle Craft's rules of bass fishing, there's only one. Rule number one: there are no rules. As soon as you think you've got it figured out, you're wrong. Because odds are, every time you think you have a plan, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work. Like in like from high school to when I could fish like 4 days a week for 10 years, 12 years, like all through college, when I got out of college, like that is the one, like I never, ever, hardly ever fished a tournament where, or even just like fun fishing where you're like, all right, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to catch them. Like that never happened. Ever. I'm going to start here and I'm going to catch them doing this. You might show up and like, or you're like, oh, I'm gonna go try and catch a big one on this, swimming a jig in this grass, and you pull up and you catch like one like 8-incher. You're like, oh, well, I got to do something else, I guess, to go get a 4-pounder. Then you go do that, and like, yeah, it's just how your day develops. Um, Yeah, I don't think there is logic. I think you just have to like have instincts and like I think there is a little bit of logic to it, but I don't know. I think you can break down I think you can break down water naturally without having to like have a pie chart to do it. Um, I mean, it's something as easy as like you're fishing out deep and like you've gone through all your stuff and you can't get bit, and you're just like, screw it, I'm just gonna go to the bank and throw a buzz bait. Like that's not really like logic. It's just like the next, you know, opposite end of the spectrum. If I'm not getting bit doing this, I'm gonna do the opposite. And you know, if I'm not getting bit on this end of the lake, I'm gonna go to the other end of the lake. Or wind's not blowing over here, it's blowing over there, I'm gonna go over there. Just like decision making. But I didn't realize it, but I've never had a problem with that because I don't do well with any kind of like being in any kind of a box. But come to find out, there's a large population of people that have a hard time with adjustments and doing things on the fly, like fishing new water. Um, like I never had a problem in practice. I mean, in like in a tournament situation, like fishing somewhere I'd never been, just because it like if it looked good, that was good enough for me. That was pretty much how I fished everything. It needed to look good and it needed to feel right. And besides that, I never cared. Like, and I guess that's the other thing, which I'm no fucking like national champion, but you know, I had a fair amount of success to keep it interesting. But I feel like I could catch a bass anywhere and be like competitive. Um, but I think you got to kind of have I think you got to kind of let that you got to have some a little bit of ability to let that shit roll off your back and just like go fish. You know what I mean? Because as soon as you like devise a plan and it doesn't work, and then you're like, that what? Like, if you don't give a shit, it doesn't matter. But I think that also like has to do with like upbringing. Um, like when I was a kid, like anytime we make plans, I always my thought process was I would always plan on whatever it was not happening. That way, if it didn't happen, I wasn't disappointed. But if it did, that was just a bonus. So, hey, Dad, let's go to see Hulk Hogan wrestle. Okay. I'll just be like, all right, we're probably not going to go, but I shot my shot. Uh, wrestling comes around. Don't go to wrestling. All right, I figured we weren't going to go anyway, so no big deal. But if it's like, hey, we're going to wrestling, it's like, oh, sweet. So it always kept me very like level headed, and I feel like that helped in fishing. But if you're very regimented and like your things don't go as planned, I can see how that would short circuit some people. It's like the guy I fish with. If we know we are going on Saturday, he will try and get as much info as we can all week. And when we go do it and catch nothing, then go off my cut and we catch fish. Huh? Yeah. And yeah. I never was into listening to people because every time somebody would like tell me anything, they always sounded really dumb and really like they didn't know what they were talking about. Like it could have been 100% legit, but like It always just sounded like too good to be true. It's like, oh, you going? You need to go out there and take you a 6-inch lizard and go down them trees and fish it real slow. It's like, no, I'm good on that. I'm good. So, and the other thing about it is, so if you're young, impressionable fishermen, first off, guys who are really good aren't going to tell you shit. Guys that are medium probably load you down, fill you up. They'll hit you with any tips and tricks of the day that you want to know. But you know, Kevin Van Dam's probably not coming off the water of your local lake going, "Oh yeah, you want the pattern? Here it is, dude. Let me lay it out there for you." Like when he was younger, I seriously doubt he was the guy pulling up the boat ramp. We're talking jig still? What jig are you hawking, Ryan? Being a co and observing. Yeah. It's all out there. That's the thing. It's like all the information's out there. You just gotta kind of know where to look for it. Chris, it is on the Alabama River at Miller's Ferry, which is it's considered a lake, but it's not really a lake. It's just there's Corps of Engineers hydroelectric dams on either end of it, so it's a dammed up section of river, which is what they call lakes around here. But it's basically just a river run lake. So river channel with like flooded creeks and shit. They're trying to talk me into AJ's finesse jig. I'm almost anti finesse anything. Do you throw a bitsy flip, Kyle? Yeah, I think that might be Panger's tragic flaw is that he can't release his mind. Maybe he needs to like eat an edible or something before he goes fishing to open his mind up a little bit. Have, but rarely. I mean, the thing about it, Kyle, if you don't need it, you don't need it. You know what I mean? Like if it doesn't make sense to you, then it doesn't make sense. I don't think it's gonna like. I mean, it's probably not a bad uh, option to have in the rig, but just fish and enjoy the time on the water. Exactly. Burns is hitting you with the veteran knowledge. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you're not trying to qualify for the elite series. You're just trying to go fishing. You know what I mean? It's compact jig, works really, really well. Is that let's look at this. Let's look at this Mindy jig. Oh, shoot. Custom baits. Horseshoe tackle. Excuse me. Where's this damn jig? Where's this magic jig? Looks like a flat out ball head with a round bend hook. Is that what I'm hearing? Take it from the guy that never gets a fish. Agreed, Marty. I like them. I like a finesse jig in the wintertime. And sometimes I just like them. It just depends. Like I said, it's like a lot of that. I feel like a lot of that shit is like it's not calculated. It's just like this internal something that you've got a hunch that like I don't know. You just get that feeling. They're like, I bet they'll bite a jig, and then you like pitch a jig around. And you're like, maybe it's a bitsy bug day. You pick up a bitsy bug and start getting bit. But if Kyle's out there and if he's not getting the bass aren't giving him vibes of baby jig, probably doesn't need a baby jig. Jeremy, that's the weird thing about downsizing to me is downsizing to me has really never brought me any more numbers than upsizing. I never had that experience to where I would just like be like, oh, I'm just gonna go throw something little and go like get a bunch of bites. For whatever reason, how I fish didn't really resonate with that. I don't know. It's odd. All right, no more talking about the Mindy Magic. So AJ doesn't sell anymore. I think it depends on how pressured your fish are. Probably doesn't hurt. Like down here, fish typically, in tidal areas in general, the fish typically like smaller stuff. So bitsy flip's great. That's why the gym jigs. Lickby. I'm very eager to try. This is the 7/16 ounce. Very sparsely tied skirt. Jim didn't do this, I did. But it's like a hybrid. It's like a football head with the ninnies shaved off the side. Recessed line tie. Badass hook. Gamakatsu. It's gonna be a sweet jig. It's gonna be a sweet jig. I might have to upsize the weed guard though. The weed guard might not be substantial enough for a cypress tree, but sweet looking jig. Probably have to trim that skirt up a little bit. It's a little long, but compared to the old bitsy flipper, but I like them. I like them a little strung out and goofy looking. This is a good jig. This is from Omerta. It's just a brush jig with a little different hook in it, but that's a good little jig. that dude's going to catch them. I'm honestly, these got me excited enough that I wanted to go fish them. I wanted to go fishing just to fish that jig. When I saw the head, I was like, oh yeah, I want to go fish that. Like I said, if I got to, I can drill the hole out and put a bigger weed guard in it, solve that, and then we'll be off to the races. 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, ball head jig, jungle hook, heavy weed guard, brown skirt, green Muffin trailer. There you go. It's pretty boring though, Mason. Considering you're a tackle tinkerer. You don't have one accent color in there. It's a fact that bass will eat the smallest crawls first. Yes, maybe I should do a Patreon about that. I have baits that I have not shown off. I've been lying to you guys. Maybe it's time I talk about that. It's a jig. I always wanted to bring it to market, but I don't know if it would. I don't know how well it would do. Buddy of mine would constantly bug me for them and would buy all an extra. So his name was Zona. Jim got the celebrity clientele on the jigs. I think you've done a great job with it, Jim. I'm very proud to have these. Will it catch a fisherman's eye? Kind of. It certainly would, but I think there would be lots of skeptics. Until you saw the video. The action video. I would have to, if I had it in a store, you would have to have a little screen that I filmed on a BlackBerry in like 2010 of the jig hopping through the bathtub. And if you saw that, you would say, done. Sell them to me. But I'd like to find somebody to make that jig for me. And just do keep some around the house on the website, maybe. I don't think it would be that involved, but there are some things that are very specific to it that if you saw it and you tried to tie it yourself, it wouldn't work. Like I did something very specific that made it do something. Also specific. Schoolmaster caught some smallmouth this morning. There you go, Gator. You got it figured out. YouTube will save me. Watch the video, and I'll count my money as it begins to print. And then my YouTube video sales go pretty good. And then in a month later, it gets released on the 6 Cents website. But I don't think I've ever shown that jig. And I can confirm the hardest bite I've ever had on a jig was on that jig. I don't think it's patentable Gator. It's a problem with most of my shit. It's just different. And the head's not different. Speaking of Sixth Sense, I've been waiting for you to talk about Milliken. Oh, we talked about it earlier. I was impressed and happy that he qualified the way he did. It was, dude put his head down and said, "I need to win." He damn sure tried. So it was impressive. But I think I got off track talking about that. But um, I think one of the main deals is that, like, if you want to be young and like successful, I think kids now are growing up. I think it's the same with anything. Uh, that the kids that are successful young, whether it's business, fishing, whatever it is, they're educated. Um, they know, they talk to people, they get enough info, they network, they do all this stuff. And unless you're just like a total like phenom natural, you're not going to just fish by yourself and like work your way up to a bass tracker and jump on the opens and like succeed. Like you would have to be a needle in a haystack. You know what I mean? Like people like that don't come around. And like I think kids are getting a little more educated, whether it's by their parents, by the internet, by anybody, whoever, wherever they're getting their information. That like, you know, you gotta network, you gotta talk to people, you don't have to go to the boat dock and ask everybody where to catch them at, but you have to have a large amount of information so you're not completely clueless as to how the game is played and like worst parts of the lake and just general stuff that your guy that like the shy kid that like just keeps to himself, he's not going to go out and get. And I think for immediate success, like early, you've got to have all those everything firing. All those cylinders need to fire quick. And some young guys coming out of this group that will probably be scary. Yeah, I think some guys are worried about the up and coming class of scopers. What's his name? Wesley Gore from up in North Alabama. He's supposedly stupid good. I think one of my buddies fished with him, and he's like, that guy's like a wizard with live scope. Um, and I think I saw him on Alabama Bass Trail live one day at Lay Lake, and he was just all they did was they were like in the middle of this pocket, scoping brush piles, and they'd skip to one to the other to the other to the other to the other, and that's all they did. Good question, Jeremy. I can tell you how. Uh, they either got a lot of help or whoever their parents are really good at teaching their kids how to promote themselves and get what they want out of promotion. And that's the other thing about it. Like it takes a certain individual to be able to go ask for something. You know what I mean? Like, even if you think you have enough value to get a truck provided for you by a local car dealership, it takes some balls at 19 to be like, hey, dude, I fish, I do this. But typically, if you're a rich kid, rich parents typically have a good relationship with a car dealership or other people of wealth. So it just trickles down. I mean, it's the same old shit. 19-year-old can't even stay at a hotel alone or rent a car or drink booze. Um, but yeah, the I don't know, the it certainly, like I said, it certainly helps. But even if your parents have money, I still don't think that sets you up for everything that you need to like get there. It helps a lot, a hell of a lot to come to come out of the gate like when LiveScope comes out, you have it before. You know what I mean? Some new technology comes out and dad goes out and buys it and you're ready to roll and you just sit there and just like go learn it. It certainly helps, but I follow a guy on TikTok and his son literally has G-Man's old Phoenix from last year. It's a good boat to fish out of. Like when I was coming up, not to sound like an old geezer, but when I was coming up, I still feel like you could be young and afford a really nice boat because a really nice, like brand new boat was like 45 grand. You know what I mean? Like 50 and you were like getting up there. But you could buy like a couple-year old used boat for 30, 35 grand. And that's like affordable for like a college student with a job that's like getting a little help from mom and dad, um, if that's what they wanted to do. Um, Send a kid on tour, send them to college. Cost could be about the same. Yeah. If you're one of those, if you're that kind of parent, you say, hey, dude, you want to go to school? I'll pay for your school, or you can go fish the Elite Series. But after that, you're you're on your own. You can either have an education and be on your own, or you can make this fishing thing work. It's an option. I don't know. I don't know. Headed to Finland to live scope some pike. That sounds pretty awesome. JT Thompson said most of the fish this year were caught on old fashioned stuff. That's good. I'll have to follow that kid. But if you're not talking to people and you're not networking, it takes too long. It takes too long to be good. I wouldn't say it takes too long to be good. It takes too long to get to like exceptional level. Oh, the bait. This is not a Balsa B3. It's like a scaled down version. It's like a mini Balsa B3. This will Gator. I told everybody earlier. This will be the this would probably be my death row bait combo. If I had to have two, if I was going out and I had to have two baits, these would be them. Oh, the bait I want to develop. Oh, we're not showing that in the public. I'll show that on a camper stream where I know there's not any moles. Well, there is a mole or two. A mini B3. There you go. I think these, I don't know if, I don't know, do little baits, I mean, do bigger baits scare people away? Like, would this qualify as bigger comparative to I guess this would be, that would be a BDS 1. Uh, Telling non-campers to buy your stuff and a long con to take over your painting empire. Come on, you dickhead. I knew it was AJ. I knew it was AJ all along. B2. There's a B2. What about an E2? It's a smidge bigger than an E2. Might be a little narrower. But I feel like you're either like I feel like most people on average, once they get to like Balsa B2, RC 2.5, that's their max. And like anything over that is kind of like, I don't know about that. Because you're either, I feel like you're either a Balsa B3 guy or you're not. Like, I don't think I really don't think that there's a lot of like riding the line on if you like a Balsa B3 or not. You either get it and you're a Balsa B3 guy and you embrace it, or you never kind of go into there. Because this thing will catch peckerheads. Like that's the thing about it is like it'll catch a damn dink, but it'll catch a lot bigger ones than a damn something else will. What are my thoughts on Pose? I'm not a fan of Pose. I'm not a fan of that. Any, which I never, I never had a, I never had a purpose for a Pose like deep diving crankbait. The RCs, I never really got into. I heard they were decent. So they were copies of Steve Blazer's bait. Um, but those I never got into. Um, But anytime I picked up a pose, whether it was like used or like in somebody's box, they all were like falling apart. Like the line ties in the lips were like janky, or like the lips were doing something, or like they were cracked up. I just felt like there was always something wrong with them. Like I don't know how Fritz threw them, and the line ties were like functioning. Um, but I didn't have like pose water here. You know what I mean? Um, we don't have like flat points and like stuff like slow tapers typically. Um, so I never got into pose. I never. I don't know that I even own a pose bait anymore. I think I've probably acquired a few over the years, but I don't think I have a pose bait in my possession. I take that back. I do. I do have a pose. Probably not what you're expecting, but it is a pose. So what I did was I took this pose jerk bait and I removed the tail hanger and I made it into a Bangalore. A gold bladed Bangalore. So that's the thing, my only pose. You got a lot of diversity up there, Jeremy? That was a good thing about North Alabama, though. Like where I lived when I was in Tuscaloosa, is like you had Lake Tuscaloosa, which is pretty much deep rock, clear, spotted bass lake with some decent sized largemouth sprinkled in. Then you had the river, it was like cypress trees everywhere. That was a good variety of any kind of option you wanted to fish. Rich, I saw a little bear, not a big bear. Big bear. Big bear did not chase me. Bango pose. Let's see. I have a picture of the bear. My phone will work. That's pretty awesome though, Jeremy. Like whatever, like if you're watching like a show or something, or you're like on the internet and you see somebody doing like something that would it's like finessey or something, you're like, oh, I bet that would work on the deep lake, and you can go try it. Or if you see a Florida tournament and somebody's like doing something in the grass that you want to try, you can go try it there. Tom was probably you're probably not missing out, man. I don't know if y'all will be able to see this. There he is. He did show up good. That was the bear. There's one. Get on your good list. It's called Tackle Camp, and it's a Patreon group. Dunkin' drive-through. No, apparently probably people had Dunkin' Donut trash out by their car because he was about to go pillage. Stearman, you ever throw the since you were a Terminator fanboy, did you ever throw the Terminator jig? I was a big fan of that thing for a while. And then the hook got a little too bendy for me. I had to look elsewhere. I loved the shape of that jig head. So let's not much of a jig throw anymore. What I do is mostly downsized versions. The Aikens finesse jig was my go-to for years. I liked the War Eagle for a while, and then I started pouring my own. But so let's go way back to like probably 2000, 2001, 2002 maybe. Does anybody remember a jig called Dr. Death? The Dr. Death jig. And it was basically it was pretty similar to this kind of head. 20 years before this head came out. I guess this was not 20 years before Do It made it. Which I don't know, probably wasn't 10. It was probably 10 before Do It came out with this jig. The brush jig. But Dr. Death had a similar head design. And I don't know what happened. I don't know who was behind Dr. Death, if they were like how widely distributed they were. But it was a badass jig. But then you couldn't get Dr. Deaths anymore. Let me Google Dr. Death bass jig. No, I think Dr. Death is gone into oblivion. I think Dr. Death is no more. I don't think it was a local company. I think it was kind of regional maybe, but I didn't know if anybody else had ever heard of it. Does it have a narrow design? I mean, it was kind of, from what I recall, it was kind of like this. Like kind of that stand up kind of head. Kind of stone jiggy. Um, Great name though. It's a shame the Dr. Death jig has gone by the wayside. There's no more Dr. Death. But that was one of my go-to jigs back in the day. Dr. Death was a wigglewort color. That's interesting. No, but after where that was going was once I kind of, it was hard to get the Dr. Death jigs. I started I was kind of I was probably moved on from like Dr. Death to like some shitty Strike King jig, probably the bootlegger or Denny Brower jig or something. Um, but then I got the Terminator came out and I tried the Terminator jig. I caught them pretty good on those, except like I said, I caught a few big ones and the hook was kind of flexed out. So, no, can't have that. So I went away from the Terminator. And I think at that point was when I might have found Oldhams, and then all my problems were solved. Because the great thing about an Oldham's jig was I could swim it, I could pitch it, I could throw it deep, I could throw it shallow, I could throw it anywhere. It was the all doing jig. You could cut the skirt short and make it a finesse jig. Did not matter, dude. I still got a ton of them. I love them. Got a little 60-degree Gamakatsu in it. Strong, stout. It's good. Terry Oldham. And they come in 2-packs. I used to have some hanging right there. There we go. Check out that price. What is in? Simmons Sporting Goods. $3.99. I think it does, Morgan. He put Flash Boo in it. Came in 1/4, 3/8, 1/2 ounce, 5/8, 3/4, 1 ounce, and 1 1/4 ounce. He has a patent on the screw lock. And he's from Wimberley, Texas. And the first town I ever went and knocked doors in trying to learn how to sell door to door was in Wimberley, Texas. You know what's crazy, Morgan? For the longest time, I didn't know it was a 60-degree hook because it just didn't look like 60 degrees. And it wasn't until like a year or two ago where I actually just took one of those and melted the head off to look at the hook, because I heard it was a 2-piece hook or something. Somebody I think had told me, like, oh, it's a 2-piece hook. No, it's just a 60-degree Gamakatsu. Let's see, I should have some in here. It's my jig box. There's one. The only con is that he epoxy coats these things, and the epoxy gets around the eyes, and they are hell to get off, especially if you're on the water. Like, that thing is solid. You ain't getting it off. But yeah, it's just it's a pretty thin. They say it's a grass jig, but it always worked good in wood for me. I mean, it worked good around anything, really. But that is it's basically a big Bitsy flip, which is probably why I liked it. I mean, if you really diagnose them, this is basically just a little Oldham's. I remember when Hackney came out with his first jig with Strike King, it was pretty much an Oldham's. Oh, Charlie from Hog Retriever in Fenton, Missouri. Sadly, Charlie passed away. That's sad. Well, Charlie's looking down. Every time you catch one on Charlie's jigs, he's probably smiling. Hey, Frank. I've been using the Arky jig from Walmart just so I don't lose my Minion Magic jig before heading to Toledo Bend. AJ, get the man some damn backup jigs. Come on, dude. Fire the lead pot up while we're talking. You can have the man 32 mini magics before this stream is over. The Akins hook, yeah. I remember, you know what, a jig I was really excited about trying, and then I got let down by the hook was when Omega came out. So it wasn't really anything specific, but I liked Omega's marketing. I liked their jig head design. Like, it had the two little red eyes. They just looked cool. I was like, oh, I can't wait to try one of these things. Just because it was cool looking, it made you feel good to fish it, which I like that kind of stuff. I want to feel good when I get a bait and I fish it. Like, the bait needs to make me feel good. And so I ordered some. I completely like bypassed any care for looking what hook was in it. I just wanted the two beady red eyes, and I was like, I gotta have that thing. So I ordered it, and I think it probably helped that what's his name was going on a Omega tear. Uh, um, what is it? What's his name? Derek Remitz. I think he won as soon as they came, like straight out the gate on that jig. But anyway, I bought it and I got the jigs in, and I was like so pumped about them. And then I opened them up, and they had like a damn Aberdeen crappie hook in them. Is it so bad the kids are getting help from their parents? I want to be able to give my children opportunities that I didn't get. I mean, it's not. Everybody wants to do good for their kids, but I guess it's how much. I mean, if you've got the resources, you're probably going to do it. You know what I mean? It's just what you have. If you got shit pots of money and your kid wants to fish the Elite Series, who cares? You know what I mean? If giving them 100 grand, 200 grand, it's like your kid asking you for $100 to go to the mall. Same difference. Same difference. But I feel like the parents have done right by the kids have some sort of education on what's happening in the real world. So I think that is what can be learned from the parents, whether if you want to say they're a rich kid, that their mommy and daddy paid everything. They I believe the parents, regardless of how much money they have and how much money they've given their kids, they've at least educated their kids in some shape, form, or fashion as to what it takes to get to where they want to go. And I think that is the biggest learning curve or learning experience that you can teach your kids about. Like, the shit don't have to do with, like, money helps a ton, but like, if you just paint a pretty decent understanding of, if you want to get here, if you're here and you want to be here, besides the money, this is what it takes to get to succeed and get to that point. So that's commendable. Tons of parents out there just getting jobs for kids. These just invested in them 100%. 100%. Who knows? They might be on loan. There's a lot of them go party for 4 years that get it paid for and end up in kinesiology degrees. Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, or no degrees, or get some bullshit degree like me, then end up painting baits. Would I have been better off trying to fish the Elite Series? Probably. At least you say you did it right. So yeah, I'm not mad at the parents, like the rich kid parents. Like I think like I said, I think there's some good that has been done because the parents, I mean, is if they're not if they're self-made money people, like if they made their own money, a lot of it, they know how to be successful and what it takes and the work and the this and that and the networking and all that kind of stuff, and they probably pass that down to their kids, which is you don't learn in school and you don't learn it from poor people. So uh, that's how that works. Later, Travis. No, he did not. He's horsing. Biochemistry degree. Sell insurance. There you go. Insurance is better anyway. Probably own a business, and if the kid fails at fishing, he has a job in the family business. Probably exactly right. Hey man, you go give it a shot for a year, 2 years. If you suck, come on back. Go to work. Or make it work. You always got a job. I feel like you know a lot of these parents are pretty supportive of their kids and like you know helping them like that outside of money. Alabama degree like University of Phoenix. Chris, that is a hell of a thing to say. No, dude. University of Alabama is a very reputable college. That's another point, Jim. A lot of these guys are trying to live vicariously through their kids. You be the Bass Pro that I was never able to because I was working, growing this business, uh, partying, being a trust fund baby, whatever it was. I couldn't, or I wasn't good enough. Uh, you go do it and do what I couldn't do. Possible, possible. Been at the insurance deal since before day one with it. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Can you sell me some truck insurance, Morgan? 95 Silverado? Oh, you were old enough to like really help. That's cool. You got to see it. You got to see it at an age where you could appreciate what was going on. Not licensed in Alabama, son of a bitch. It's got to be somebody in Alabama. I'd rather get it from one of you guys. Oh. That's how it is here, Jeremy. Like all my friends growing up, they all had like everybody's parents worked at the Alabama Power, or the steel mill, or some gas plant, or like that's just what you did. Like outside of that, there weren't other jobs like that like nothing like that like ever crossed my mind. Like just being creative in like business and like a mobile car wash. like if you wanted to start that, like you would have been crucified. Everybody like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Nobody's gonna pay you to wash their car in their driveway. Am I the dumb one? Later, Rich. No, that's like I said, that's like how my and they all like all my friends' dads, they worked shift work and they worked like, graveyards, and they wouldn't see their dad for like 2 weeks because he was working nights and he'd leave like during dinner and then like come home and sleep when they were going to school. So it's a pretty shitty life, but do what you got to do. I like detailing cars. That got me through my ups and downs of Austin. I had a pretty ragtag operation, but it paid the bills. It helped pay the bills. It's called True Clean Mobile Auto Detailing. My problem is my problem with that was that I did it by myself. I needed two people, and but I still wanted to paint, so I didn't do it enough that I could like have a schedule. Like I just did it when I needed money, right? So, um, but I was always my OCD never let me be efficient at it because like if there was like crumbs on the floor, like I would be obsessive about getting all the like last crumbs. Auto Clean Plus, that's a good name. Begins with an A. Though there might have been phone book still then. You would have been in the front of the phone book. Do you still like to detail cars, Jeremy? But I got some big wrenches thrown in my plan back in the day. Did it in a shop, then do mobile. Oh yeah, so when I moved to Austin, I took a little small utility trailer and I put like a 200-gallon water tank on it. And I went to Harbor Freight and bought like this water pump, and I created and I had a little generator that got stolen from me. It really was heartbreaking, but my little Yamaha 1000 inverter generator that I used to run my water pump with and I ran my vacuums with. Um, that was my little mobile unit that I'd built to go wash cars. And when I took it out there, I was getting all my business licenses and stuff. And the lady, it was really early on. I was a little bit ahead of the curve because it was the mobile detailing was pretty popular in California, but it hadn't quite made it to Austin yet. I think there was like one other person doing it. So when I was trying to get all the like licenses and stuff to do it, the lady I was talking to on the phone, she's like, "So what are you trying to do again?" She's like, how does your business work?" I was like, "So I go to wherever the person's vehicle is, and I wash it where it sits." And she's like, "What do you wash it with?" It's like, "Water." She's like, "What else? Is there soap?" And I was like, "Could be." And she's like, "Well, you have to collect all that." I was like, "I have to do what?" And she's like, all the runoff, you have to collect it. So you would need to put something in front of the drains to collect it, because we can't have detergents going into the drain. And I was like, well, what about all the oil and antifreeze and shit when it rains? And she's like, we can't control that. I was like, sure you can. You can catch it the same way I can. And she's like, well, you're doing it intentionally. I was like, am I? And and so after that, I was like, dude, I brought this whole trailer out here, and this lady's telling me I have to catch every drop of water and detergent and product that hits the ground. So now what do I do? So then I went to the interwebs and figured out what guys in California were doing. Waterless car washes. It was a thing. So I would actually spray the cars off with water with no detergent, and then do a waterless wash, and worked pretty good for a long time. Had it all. Hot tub pressure washer could come out at 150 degrees. That's pretty badass. Talked to Johnny about a Bass Pro franchise in 76, 30 grand, bought a bulldozer instead. Jim. Sounds like you were in the right place at the right time, though. You just zigged when you should have zagged. Later, Gator. We use hot seat pressure washers. I've never even heard of them. Shows what I know. What kind of detailer am I? What kind of detailer am I? Anybody catch smallmouth crush last night? I didn't even get a notification it was on. Damn, these are taking forever. Maybe it's just me talking. A detailer, that was me. I don't know. I was I was not. I was a good detailer, but my greatest flaw was I was a slow detailer. I was probably washing detailing people's cars for like $3 an hour, as long as it took me to do it. Johnny Morris. Jim, how'd you get in front of Johnny Morris? How'd you meet Johnny Morris? Called a carpet machine. Mary Jane Rotten Crotch. Frank, several XM build baits coming down the line. Yes, yes, yes. Amy said it was hot in Arkansas. I called him. Nice move. Don't tell me you looked him up in the phone book. If we weren't getting 5 to 6 cars out a day, we were losing money. Yeah, that's what I tried to do. Like, I would try to do like 3 in an afternoon. I tried to do a lot, about an hour, hour and a half per car, and I would typically start like after people's lunch breaks, from like 1 to 5. I would try and squeeze 3 cars into that time, and sometimes you could do it, and sometimes people would lie to you. Like, what condition is your car in? Do you have any dog hair? There might be a little in there, and it looked like a German Shepherd got shaved in the back seat. It's like, well, I can clean this and I can charge you, but it's the time that throws me off. We decided on the goodness for those. I have not. I was thinking just chartreuse and black, just because they are the death row, but the death row baits. But I feel like this one needs to be Tennessee shad, and this one needs to be. Uh, I don't know though. It's hard. It takes me 4 hours to detail one of our 40-foot buses, 6 to do an articulated bus, but I'll stretch it to 8. Frank, what kind of business are you in? Yeah, I was young and dumb, Jeremy. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to get paid so I could paint baits. Didn't care. If I lost money on a car, I lost money on a car. I just needed money. If you lied to me, oh well. But you can tell a lot about a person by how dirty their car is and how their car is dirty. It was really interesting. Interesting. Frank works for London Bus Lines. How about that? We did for Prevost. Um, they had some nice buses come in. All the pine needles. That would be an odd thing to have in your car. Do they stick to you? Yeah, I mean, I'm really Burns. I'm really leaning towards a Tennessee Shad or a just a '09. That'll probably change, I'm sure. That will probably change. Actually, I know it will because I've already. Well, it's not going to change much. Is that legal, AJ? Did you get a permit for that, or can y'all dump shit like that legally in Nebraska? Private lake. I cleaned a woman's dead husband out of a trunk. Are you serious? I called the number in one of the first catalogs and inquired about the franchise offer. Johnny got on the phone. How about that? Frank, where do you think you would be now if you had owned a Bass Pro Shops franchise? I guess Johnny would have probably bought it back because they're not independently owned anymore. I wonder what happened when that flipped. I'm really bad about colors. You are correct, Burns. I'm the worst. I have ideas and then they change as I'm painting, as I'm looking at them with my two eyes. I'm telling you, that goes all back to the fishing thing. Like the decision, I could never I don't know. It's just like I always knew better than to be like, I'm doing this and I'm going to stay on that path and I'm never going to deviate from it. Like me telling myself I'm going to paint that Tennessee Shad. It might start as Tennessee Shad. I can probably give you a pretty good indication that it will start as that. There's also a very large opportunity that it will not end as that. You're not that far from me. It's been over by 80 degrees quite a few times. Hella, just quit. Just do YouTube and fish, bro. Hey, Darius. Fish biting? We'd like a Kentucky Lake report, please. Quit, I can't afford balsa. Don't quit then. Keep working your fingers to little nubs. DC9. Gross. Vom. It was a screwed up situation. Cops found the car. Whoever killed him put him in the trunk and put 50 gallons of lime with him so he wouldn't stink. That would probably eventually eat through everything too, wouldn't it? I remember my dad was fertilizing a field, or he had some lime that he was going to put out on like a green field or something, and he left the bag in the back of our Scout, and the lime. I don't know if the Scout leaked and the bag got wet, or it spilled out. It ate through the whole bottom, it ate through the whole metal back of the Scout. Like the bag eventually just like fell through the metal because it rusted through. Tennessee Shed on the KB2, or I could do instead of Tennessee Shad, I could do one of my favorites, Gray Ghost. That one's real sexy. I don't have the paint for Mellow Yellow. I ran out of the yellow that it takes for that. It's like duck yellow or something. I forget what it's called. That was once I ran out. I never bought it again because I literally only used that color to paint Mellow Yellow with. I think I have something. No, I don't know that I have something close. Let me look at it again. I might. No, I don't. This is my favorite E1. The reason is it has the shittiest eyes I think I've ever seen Ed paint. They're awful. That's why it's my fave. Because they are real wonky. Ooh, there's one. What is that? It's a Mellow Yellow Hickey from 2010. Nice bait. Still better than Brian's bees. Brian's bees were everything about those things were awful. I don't know. That just goes to show you what it's Ronnie Tap Yellow. It's pretty damn. I don't know what it is, but I only use it for one thing. Prior Mellow Yellow. That just the Brian's bees are a testament to what a little marketing and publicity will do. in your ability to sell shit. It ain't got to be the prettiest in order to sell it. Sounds like I need to come to Pryor's house and stick my little cup in your gallon. Suckle me a little tap yeller. Like I said, the last time I ordered it was, I didn't reorder it because I only use it for mellow yellow. Get a ladle of the yellow. That's exactly what I need. That's exactly what I need. Pryor, you ain't got plans to come down here for work anytime soon? I'll text it to you while I'm thinking. Let's see here. I will say, I bought some new deodorant and body wash last night when I was waiting for the Beans prescription. Smelling good, bros. Some cypress and something. All right. All quiet in Saraland. That's a bitch. Saraland needs to wake up. So Pryor's got to have an excuse to come down here and hang. Is that your favorite Norman color? I'm guessing Mountain Dew. My favorite Norman color was two. I guess it was Green Joe Scale and their Tennessee Shad. Oh yeah, Burns does have a surprise for everyone. He has decided that he is going into the vault. Later, Tom. All my Normans. Come on, you loser. I bet that's it. Is that your go-to, Darius? Dude, I cannot tell you. Oh yeah, you can tell this one's fancy. You can tell this one was a fave. It's got bronze gamakatsus on it. This one's a little bendy. But that's their Tennessee Shad. Heavy glitter. One of my favorite Tennessee Shads ever. And this one was very popular with me. I upgraded the hooks as well. I did this color back when I was in Austin on some 1.5s. It's called Slick. Heavy glitter. I used to catch them on that one pretty good. That was a really cool color. Whoever invented it, I would like to give them a fist bump. Good color. Oh, damn. I thought this bait was gone forever and I still got it. Ha! How about that shit? I love a damn sparkly ass Norman, dude. I love a sparkly ass Norman. Not gonna lie. So I guess it's this one. I probably caught more bass on this DT6 than any DT6 I've ever owned in my life. And I threw it the last time I fished, and I realized that it sank. It's still kicking though. Like if you could see the top of it, it's chewed, but you can't. It's held up really well. I babied the balsa though. This bait held up well. I don't know what kind of prior you might know. This is one of those Davis baits. I've caught 100 on this damn thing. I've caught a ton on it. But whatever his clear coat was, holds up really good. I don't know. It might be a thin coat of epoxy. It acts like epoxy the way it the way it's worn. But I guess that's kind of a Tennessee shad. Always back in my memory, I always thought it was greener, but it's not. It's gold green. But that was kind of a weird bait. Angle was weird. I need to strip this one. This is a very early 1.5 DD paint job that needs to be removed. And I need to get to the bottom of what it was because whatever it was had lots of hook rash before I painted it. Oh, yeah. I like the Davises. I only had one. That's what was funny about it, though, John, is I had one, and I guess one was all I needed. And I never bought a backup for it. I just threw it, and that was the only one I had. And I would throw the shit out of it, and it just survived somehow. But it was a good bait. Caught them. I threw it in the wintertime a lot. About 5 new ones. The problem I've always found with Normans, and you know, I'm like everybody else. I like the old ones. But anytime I find a large collection of Normans, it's always 22s. I never find little ends, middle ends, baby ends, tiny ends. I never find any of the like smaller ones. Like if you find the mother load of Normans, I always feel like when I find them, it's DD22s with an occasional 14 hiding in the box that you could like pick out. But there's been multiple occasions where I've stumbled on like very large crankbait collections for sale. And at the time, I should have bought them, but they would just be like 40 DD22s. Especially in Austin, there was a couple times I found some boxes of cranks in Austin, and they were all 22s. A Norman flat broke. I do not. Is Is that the that's the jointed one? Yeah, I love it. Like I love them all. Like that's the thing about mine. Like DD14 was my favorite um, over the 22, but the I love the little end, middle end. They all had their place, but the square bill sucks. The Fat Boy. A lot of people love the Fat Boy. Lots of people love the Fat Boy. I never really gravitated towards the Fat Boy, because I just had. Later, Pryor. Be careful on the road. I'm sure you're cruising. Um, I never bought any of the weird Norman stuff. I typically tried to say pretty, and I also think that was a we never had any like tackle shops that got too far out of the norm. Um, so you didn't see a lot of weird stuff. You just saw like the normal stuff. The Normans I acquired a couple months ago, pretty old. There was some little ones in there. Forgot the others. I don't know, Brian. I have to go back and look. I'll have to go back and look. I don't know that there's any great way of telling. There's probably a certain few years that's hard to decipher. Yes. Let me go over here and look in my Norman box. But I go in phases where I'm like, oh, I need like 20 middle ends to like paint for my collection, like for my tackle. And then I'll go try and go find them on eBay, and they're like used pieces of shit, and they want like $8 a piece for them. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I'm out on that. All right, let's see. I had a box somewhere. It's in here. How about that old packaging? That color never made it out. I bet he'd catch them now. This is a Texas thing. It's a Texas thing. You wouldn't understand. So they say. Random depths with a treble hook stuck in it. Carp 1.5 with a crack down the center of the bait that I didn't notice until I'd already painted it. That's nice. That makes you feel good. popar my dad carved 50 years ago. Good jig. Oh, there's that tape. I've been looking all over for this. So this little bitty tape you can use, and you can mask the like DT6 lips or Bagley lips. It's just about the same thickness of crankbait bills. Stan Sloan's Zorro bills. Rapala bill. This is just a junk box. Oh, cool. Micro chatterbait blades. I'll keep those out. What am I doing with this? Barnes, I need to send you this and have you put a coat of epoxy on it. I think my dad built this, but it's not sealed. It's got some dings and bumps in it. Yeah, I don't know. I've never. I got a bunch of shit I need to send you, Burns. I'm just going to add this to the pile. What gets you more chubbed up? A big one caught on a bait you painted or a bait you made? Probably made. If I made it. Probably a Burns bait. Because they all typically have a purpose. JP Harold, Uncle Frank needs to visit the Flat Broke on a BTL episode. Hayden, you're exactly right. That would be a good oddity for Uncle Frank to talk about. Why don't we get Uncle Frank on here and let him talk about it instead of on there? That would be better. How many native gills do you think you've made just never see fish catches or for sale in the swimback groups? Jeremy, there's probably I don't know. Probably I could figure it out, but there's probably 60 floating around, maybe 50. 20, 15. There might be more than that. Maybe, I don't know, 75, 50. I don't remember. I think the first batch I did 20. I think I did 22, 20, 18. I can't remember, something like that. And I think I did a 30 batch. But I don't remember if there was good ones out of every batch. Like I remember saying I'm going to make 30, and then probably something dicked up with a handful of them. I couldn't make them, like they didn't swim right or whatever, and they got trashed. So I don't know how many at the end I was actually left with. So I think the people that have them and throw them hoard them, like, and buy multiples. Because I think most of the time people don't even, like, if they buy them and they sell them, they don't even fish them, or they like throw them once and they're like, I don't know what to do with this. And then the people that fish them buy them, because I think there's a lot of guys out there that bought them and fished them, and then hoard all the ones they find. Um, yeah, that's the thing, Jeremy. Is people buy stuff and they don't really, they don't necessarily have something in mind that they want to do with the bait, and then they get it and they fish it, and they're like, "What do I really do with this?" You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? And that bait was served a point. Like it had a point. But it's not like a like a Chad where you just go throw it around and throw it in open water. Wasn't really meant for that. But yeah, there's some floating around. There's some floating around. I need a better way of turning those out. It's too slow to tune them. Too slow to weight them. Like the problem with them was they were so finicky about, like, they needed to sit a certain way for them to swim right and to not come up and like to do what they needed to do. They needed to have a certain posture when they sit in the water, and like and they had to have a certain rise weight, so they wouldn't swim as a high float, and they had to be a like super low float for them to do what I wanted them to do. And they were great as a slow sink, but they weren't ever intended to be a subsurface sinking bait. So they all needed to float low, and like getting them to that point was like maddening. Oh yeah, there's no way I could have made a couple hundred of them. That would have been, I would have pulled my hair out. Making that many was awful enough. Like the idea of walking back in there and trying to like make some of those is like, no thanks. Not making them really, it's just waiting them. So I think there's better options out there of ways to do it that I wasn't doing. So when I get back around to dicking with those, I'll uh, I'll do some things different to hopefully make uh, make things a little more consistent. I do have a crank down potentially that ran pretty awesome. But it's still sitting till I get in the mood. Till I get in the mood. But I really like, I don't know. Like there's so many people flooding the market with everything. What I think I could do, Jeremy, honestly, I think I could take this bill, stick it in, heat it up, and bend it down and make it a weight, and not have to cut a new lip slot. I think it would be the same thing, um, which would make my life easier. Anything that doesn't involve me making more molds I actually enjoy the bait part of it. It's making the molds that's so frustrating because I had so many stick together, and I like tried all the like supposed right. I even smeared so you can thin Vaseline down with mineral spirits. I even thin Vaseline down with mineral spirits and smeared that all over the damn mold. Came back the next day and the damn mold stuck together. I was like, how is this shit possible? How is this possible? Can make a native wake out of balsa. That'd be quite the undertaking, Barnesy. But like that was what a lot of that was what burned me out on making baits was like every time and that silicone is fucking expensive, dude. So you got like $150 jug of silicone that you just emptied half of it out to make some molds, and then you come back in and $80 worth of silicone just stuck together and is worthless. And then you try to like cutting it in. Yeah, my my wallet and my patience got real short with that stuff. 3 hours. I'm hungry. It's quiet in here today. Nobody's home. But I will get back into the bait building. I got some more things I need to do or I want to do. I guess I need to quit going on these dumbass trips and farting around. As time goes on, the materials just go up and up and up. Yeah. I want to take a nap, but I have to go to 8th grade volleyball. Naps are overrated, dude. You don't need a nap, hella. I feel like anytime I think I'm going to lay down and take a nap, I just lay there. Like I can never go to sleep. I'm like, it's nap time. And I just sit there and I'm like, and now it makes sense when you're like, when you were a kid and you're like, you ask like your dad or like your grandmother or grandfather or something, you're like, are you asleep? And you're like, no, I'm just resting my eyes. Like that's real. Like that has become a thing for me. I just rest my eyes. Can't sleep. Pro napper. You should do a napping tips on your hella chat. Agreed, AJ. I'm also I don't know about you, but I'm also not a loungewear kind of guy. Like I typically wear everything I wear all day until it's like time for me to go to bed, and then it's like done, sleep. Yeah, it's probably right. Hell, I do have to sleep with one eye open for a reason. No naps, you will have a long dirt nap. You're probably right, Darius. I probably need to work on my napping skills. Oh, you're saying? I thought you were saying I'm going to have an early dirt nap. Yeah, you can sleep when you're dead. Correct. Work in sweatpants. I guess if I had y'all's weather, I did once once I got to California, I understood hoodie season. It made a lot of sense because it was like the perfect weather for a hoodie, and I understood, and I was like, damn, I need to dip a little more into the hoodies because I can't relate to hoodie season And when I was out at Bass Lake in California, it made me appreciate hoodie season. I said, this is perfect weather for a hoodie. Jeremy, I wish I had that kind of sleep needs. Later, Burns. If Amy gets bored, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Tell her to give you a buzz. No, a good blank stocking cap. That's what you were telling me, AJ. I don't know if you ever sent it to me. You were just keeping them all for yourselves. Minnesota is hoodie season 24/7. Yeah, I did. I mean, I wore a jacket in July. That one morning we were up there, it was cool. The first morning at Pigstone. Started warming up a little bit after that, but it's still not hot. You think this is the same company that made Carhartts originally? That'd be a cool find. This is the greatest stream drove to Oklahoma and back. Chris, 3 hours, 2 minutes. I should have started sanding baits earlier like I needed to, and then I would probably be done with them, but I started talking first instead of sanding, so I didn't start sanding till much later, and I still have quite the pile left. Which maybe I can take them. I could probably take them home tonight, and it depends on the level of exhaustion of the kids. And what's going to happen is the bean's going to want me to lay down with her, and she'll say, "I want you to lay with me," and I'll lay down with her, and then start playing on my phone and not want to get out of bed to go sand fishing lures. I can nap 15 minutes and it would keep me awake an extra 3 to 4 hours at night. Jeremy, I am exactly the same way. If I lay down and I sleep for 20 minutes and I've been used to going to bed at like 10, 1 o'clock, I'm like sitting there like bug eyed, like I just drank like 2 pots of coffee. He was like, go to sleep. I'm like, no, I took a nap today. I can't go to sleep. I slept 30 minutes. Ow. Ow. So I got to step up my hoodie game. Yeah, that's how I am, Jeremy. Like, especially with a cell phone. Like, I start thinking of stuff. Like, I can think of like things to look up indefinitely. Like, there's so much I want to like read about or like learn about or like just research. It never ends. Like, how do you do this? How do you build this? How do people do this? What was that? Oh, AJ, I figured out. I saw this. I saw this shirt. I don't know. This probably won't ring a bell to you, but it might. We'll see how weird you are. We're gonna test. We're gonna test your weird qualities. So I went to this bar in California, and it was called the Oak Room, and that was their T-shirt. So I saw that, and I said that reminds me of a cartoon I saw when I was a kid, and I couldn't think of it. So I Googled weird kids cartoon 80s tree. or something, and it came up, and it was called the Elm Chanted Forest, I believe. Let me make sure. Yep, the Elm Chanted Forest. And it's on YouTube. You can watch it. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it is freaking weird, dude. Real weird. Very, very odd. Like, this was the villain. He was like this prickly pear guy. It's odd. But you should watch it when you're bored. If you feel like watching a 1980s cartoon for an hour and a half. The Elm Chanted Forest. If you feel like doing some drugs, there you go, AJ. Eat you some of those Nebraska mushrooms. Watch the Elm Chanted Forest. All right, 2 more of these, and I'm gonna go home and check on the bean. It's about bean 30. She's miserable, and I'm sure she wants her dada. And I'm hungry. All right. I kind of want to go take a licky jig down to the pond and skip it around. Jim, are you still there? I sent you the link. Let me check this out. Do you have them, AJ? Made in the USA. Ooh, and they got all the colors. I like it. Jim, I'm surprised as much of a fan as Z was of your jig, he didn't try and slip one to Strike King and say, go make this for me, please. Same everything. My favorite thing about Carhartts is I need to have some little Carhartt type little badges made to put on the beanies, because I don't like big patches on even big at all. So I told Amy I was going to order some patches to put on beanies and stuff that are like small, that did embroidery and just got stretched out. Oh, you got them embroidered on the thing. Yeah, so I want to have some more patches made just for sock hat. I'm out of the novelty game, Jeremy. I'll leave that up to AJ. AJ's got the novelty torch right now, and he's flying it proud. That really surprises me because they wouldn't have Strike King wouldn't have a problem getting that hook. That would be one phone call. You can look at the jungle hook and see that, you know, if they have a hook that they need, they can get it. When Strike King calls you and says, "I need hooks," you say, "Okay, how many? Where do I send them?" That really surprises me, actually. Lead products, that wouldn't have taken long at all. Never too late, though. Never too late. What is that? The novelty game did not pan out this year. Well, that's unfortunate. Still early, though. You haven't made it to All Hallows Eve yet, so there's still time. That's what's so dumb about that. Is if you would have painted 2, 100 people would have messaged you and said, "I want that. Where do I get it?" If you would have painted 100, 2 people would have wanted them. It's the novelty game is a very tricky market to teeter in, because you can either get real heavy real fast, or you are hosed totally. But I also think like the guys that follow the Facebook fishing pages, they're so used to seeing like novelty stuff because there's so many people that just sit at home and create novelty shit. They're like, even novelty doesn't like flip any switches anymore on people. First skull crawl was an auction and I had like 50 people ask for them. There you go. That's so like, but that's like exciting and it feels good and it's fun. But now all those people that bought those skull crawls are jaded and they don't care. Like where'd they all go? You know what I mean? Like if those people like the skull crawl, they should like your skull spook. Like you should be able to sell those 50 people a skull spook. I guess they go and they come. I don't know. It's a weird market when you start getting into that type of thing. Non-standardized paint. Man, auction. Hey AJ, when do you start Whatnot? I saw Baxter did a thing. Did anybody get on there and get anything? I saw him trying to hawk one of those live pointer Lucky Crafts. I was like, get that piece of shit out of here, Baxter. Thing sucks. The Sweet Chuck. I like that name. I do one on an ES flat. I don't want to be on the swimbait community radar. Yeah, that's true. Don't worry, AJ. I've been doing it more than 99% of the painters in the swimbait community, and I'm still I'm not on any of the radars. You gotta get on there and shake hands and kiss babies. Paint shit for free. The black dude that made all the weird noises back in the 80s. From Police Academy? The dude, the impression guy? The only thing I've seen he had worth a couple Zell pops and mores. From Police Academy. Jim, I haven't watched it yet. I have not watched it yet. Police Academy. Oh, what a great show. Always liked Hightower. Sweet Chuck, that was his name. I'm gonna have to watch that. If I can get the kids to sleep tonight, I'll try and catch up. Oh, there we go. There's a Baxter review. I bought a custom painted mag draft, yellow box popper, and a couple cheap blade baits. That doesn't sound bad. You've got to get in on the circle jerk if you want to be on the swim bait groups. Yes, yes, you do. Yes, you do. I'm not about that life. Because it's so stupid. Like, everybody knows who can paint and who can't. And then, like, you see those dumbass posts where it's like, and the people really don't know, but they're like, who can paint this? And, you know, you get 150 comments, and the people recommending people are just like atrocious. I'm like, God, that's terrible. Like, I'm not even saying recommend me, but don't recommend 90% of the people that are in the comments. Like, no, like you're asking the wrong people. Ask a painter. Jim, I was a little pissed Castle didn't come out with the bed rig because the hook was already a little hard to get as it was. I get the ghost after people ask for swim bag prices. Later, Hella. I'll have to go watch it. Y'all got me interested now. I'll go give Castle 9 a click. But maybe I'll do a poll later. I need a group. I need one of those. I don't want to do it to everybody because now, like the group chats on, or not the group chat, but the like, whatever the chat's called. Hella's got one. I don't know about y'all, but Hella did his chat first, and then after it was like the snowball effect where I got like 10 invites to join somebody's chat. And I was just like, I don't want to be on 10 chats of thoughts that I can't interact with. So I just like, after Hella, I just declined everybody. It's like, I can't be a part of this. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, I'd like to talk to people, but I want to interact. I don't want to be part of, I don't want to be in their inbox as another like annoyance. So I opted to not do that. I'd rather just take your time here and talk for 3.5 hours where you can at least see me. Um, Blockhead hook. I'll look it up. Well, dudes, good talking to everybody. We'll talk again tomorrow, I'm sure, when I get to. Yeah, I don't really love it, Darius. I don't understand it. I know it's a good way to like interact with your people and have them, get a direct link to what you need them to see. But I don't know. It's good to me. It's better for the creator than it is for the consumer. It's good to be able to contact your people and it go directly to their inbox, and it's not as spammy because there's nobody else commenting or anything, so you don't get notifications from 80 100 different people. um, don't Jeremy, you're not missing out. You're not missing out. um, but cool feature for people like me that I'm going to choose not to partake in, which is another reason that I will go down in the Instagram points algorithm, because they roll out new shit and they like you to use it, and I don't like to use everything just because it's new. So suck it. IG, I will just continue to fall and burn, but I'm gonna stand on my little mountain, flying my flag of non IG conformity. I will not use all your stupid ass song recommendations, even though 1.9 million people already have. Yeah, I'm about to leave, Travis. I got through sanding the little bees, the little B3s, and I've got. I have to think of names for these, but names will be necessary because it's not a true Killer B2, and that's not a true Balsa B3, but they're close. Killer B3, cross between 3 and 5. What's that from, AJ? Suck it, Trebek. Turn my lights off, go to the dark side. All right, dudes, we'll check in tomorrow. Say a little prayer for our youngins that they are better and not throwing up and pooping everywhere. Thanks for hanging around. Talk to you later. Bye bye.